Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the special Senate election transmission on PTV World. We had started, in fact, since last night, but we're continuing because today, of course, is election day. 52 members of the Senate are going to be elected, half of the total number of members of the Senate, because the procedure, of course, as you know or if you do not know, is that the Senate every 3 years elects half of its members. And the normal tenure is 6 years, but every 3 years, half of those members resign and half of those members are renewed every year. So this year is no exception. In accordance with the Article 59 of the Constitution, each provincial assembly elects 23 members, which include 14 general, 4 technocrat. This is, of course, on the basis of the 6-year term. 4 technocrat, 4 women, and 2 non-Muslim seats. 4 general, that are 2 general, 1 technocrat and 1 woman are elected from the Islamabad Capital Territory, and 8 members are elected from the federally administered tribal areas. Now, elections for 52 Senate seats are being held as of now. You can see some of the images that we took this morning, and these are, of course, of the Senate elections. All people look quite happy while posting their votes. And we have been now joined by our correspondent who has been covering the Senate elections, Geti Ara Anis, to talk more about this. Geti, thank you very much to have joined us. Geti, first of all, did the polling start from 9 a.m. sharp, and how is the turnabout of the different members that are here to vote for the Senate members?
Well, Omer, it started actually right on time, the polling in the Senate. And as we know that this process is taking place simultaneously in all the provincial assemblies and in the National Assembly. So basically, it started right on time in all the premises that were declared as the polling stations. In Islamabad, in the parliament that I'm reporting from, the pace has been a little slow because it was early morning, and after a while it started picking up, and we have seen the Speaker of National Assembly, Sardar Ayaz Sadiq, cast his vote. Then the Minister for Information and Broadcast, Mariam Aurangzeb, has also carried out this duty, and we have seen other members, including the opposition leader in the National Assembly, Shah, cast his vote. So the momentum has started to pick up some pace, but it's not that there is any rush that we are seeing around. But we know that since there are 2 places that have been declared as the polling station, one is the National Assembly hall that we know, and that is to vote for the members of the 2 seats and the members who will be representing federal capital. And the other one is the committee room number 2, where the members from PATA would be casting their vote, and 2 of them have already done that. One is Maulana Jamaluddin from FATA, and he is from JUIF, and then Sajid Turi. He was also a member from federally administrative tribal areas, and both of them have cast their vote. So there are already, we know that there are total 11 members from FATA who will be actually voting for 4 seats. So 2 of them have already cast their vote. So now we are just monitoring and observing that how this pace picks up. Yes.
All right. Geti, the Election Commission of Pakistan also took out a very strict code of conduct for the Senate elections. Do you see that code of conduct being followed by all the members of the National Assembly that you have witnessed since this morning?
Well, mainly, yes, and you're very right. There were very strict rules and regulations, and that were announced by the Election Commission of Pakistan this time around. And some of them were not seen before in any of such elections that have taken place before in Pakistan. And but we know that that is still just the morning and the whole day. We have to see the whole day how it goes by. So far, there has been all quiet and calm, and everything is quite under control of the ECP staff and the returning officer who is presiding over this whole process. Yes.
All right, Giti, this process is going to continue till 4 p.m. if I am not wrong. When should we expect the first unofficial or official results to pour in?
Umar, we cannot actually say when, but we know, as you just said, that at 4 o'clock this whole process of polling will end. And then the counting will start, and then we have to see how much time ECP wants to come up with the real numbers that everybody is waiting for in Pakistan.
All right. And have you talked to any of the MNAs who've come this morning, and what is the general trend going for, and how optimistic are the ruling party members, how optimistic are the opposition party members? Did you manage to talk to some of them?
Well, we have heard the Minister for Information, Aurangzeb, talk about right at the front gate of the Parliament. And she was, of course, very optimistic because there were some rumors and some people had concerns if the Senate election will take place, or will it take place on time or not, because there were so many things going on at the political front in the country. But she also said that this surely is a good day, that we are seeing that democracy is actually taking roots in its true manner in the country, and the whole process is going further. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Geti Aranis, to have joined us. We'll come back to you as soon as we'll need more information from your end. That was our correspondent, Geti Aranis, who was informing us from the National Assembly in Islamabad, where the members of the National Assembly are voting for the two members that will be elected from the Islamabad capital territory. And of course, all the provincial assemblies are also holding the elections for the respective Senate seats, 12 each from Punjab and Sindh, 11 each from Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and of course FATA. We have the 4 seats from FATA. To talk more about that, we'll slowly and surely be joined by different guests, but we've got our first guest here with us. Let me introduce him to all of you. He is Riaz Ul Haq. You're a journalist with the Express Tribune. Riaz, thank you very much to have joined us.
Thank you.
Riaz, you have seen the whole precursor of these Senate elections, all the parties issuing statements, different parties getting together to vote for other parties, different parties being very optimistic about how their members will get the seats in the Senate. But before that, let's come to the Supreme Court's decision as far as putting all the members of the PML and as independent candidates is concerned. Now, this was important as far as the political scenario is concerned, because this is a precedent that we never saw beforehand. How, in your point of view, can this affect the election results in the Senate?
I think, thank you so much for the invitation. I think there is no such apparent impact on the election of the Senate or the PMLN, but those PMLN think if they have been dented by some forces who have been ousting them from the Senate elections, but they are now contesting as an independent candidate, but they are fine. So I don't think so PMLN will have some serious dent or something like that. So to me, it is not, it is just a sort of thing which will really don't impact them, because after they are elected, though they'll be independent, but they will still be following the orders of the party and the proceedings which will be followed. So they will not be.
Because one thing, Mr. Riaz, we always hear about is people changing loyalty, especially the independent members. Do you feel that now that the members of the PMLN have been declared as independent, that they might change their loyalties, or do you feel that they are so loyal that despite the fact that a judgment has come declaring them as independent, they will still adhere to their party?
This is very interesting about PMLN. People have been talking about if they will, the loyalty will break down about the senators who will be contesting elections as an independent candidate. But no, apparently because PMLN has such strong grip on their lawmakers and other people, so it goes for the senators as well. So I don't see there will be any dent on the sort of PMLN party in terms of changing of loyalties or not. Though there are some people are saying, political analysts, that it could be like if it depends on the trial of the PMLN major leaders like former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and daughter and son-in-law. So if there is something like that, then we could be possibly witnessing some sort of thing. But apparently for now, it seems everything fine for PMLN.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Riaz. We'll continue our discussion. But now we've been joined by Barrister Masroor Shah. You're a legal expert and you're also the Central Information Secretary of the Qawmi Watan Party. Barrister Shah, it's always a pleasure to have you because you're quite forthright and forthcoming and direct as far as your points of views are concerned. Let's talk about the parties that have aligned themselves for the Senate elections. The Qawmi Watan Party and the PTI have apparently aligned themselves together for the Senate seats. The Fatah MNAs have also decided on a consensus as far as the independent candidate, the candidate for the PMLN is concerned. How are these alliances going to play out in the long run as far as the Senate results are concerned?
Actually, these are not long-term political alliances, so to speak. These alliances are just on one single agenda, and that is getting or mustering support for their party's respective candidates.
All right.
Otherwise, you see that, I mean, I was watching the news yesterday that Jamaat Islami, though it's an ally of the PTI government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it allied with PMLN. So on the face of it, the Amir of Jamaat Islami is constantly castigating the PMLN leadership, but when it comes to Senate seat, they have joined hands. So these are, even in Sindh we have seen that PSP has joined hands. MQM now, though, they have set their own house in order, so that's a separate thing altogether.
And they are also backing the seat that was lying vacant.
Yeah, exactly.
That is now being taken by Mushahid Hussain Sayyid.
Exactly. So now the issue is that these alliances they can't really have any impact on the upcoming general elections or on the political future of any particular party. There's just one single point agenda.
For example, if two parties make their alliance on a certain Senate seat or they back a certain candidate, the candidate wins. What happens after that? These alliances can break at any time after that once if that member is elected as member of the Senate. And if those alliances do break up after the election of that member, what happens? What is the future of that Senate candidate? Which party does he align to?
No, the party on whose ticket the member has submitted his nomination papers,
he will
officially he will, and he is the candidate of that party, and once elected he would be representing that party, and he will come under the discipline and he'll follow the constitution of the party who has given ticket to him.
All right.
These are, as I've reiterated earlier, these are not formal political alliances, so to speak. They are just, you can say, consensus development exercise, a quid pro quo arrangement that, okay, for women's seat, you will vote for me, and in return, my members of Provincial Assembly would vote for you on general seat or on technocrat seat. So it's more of a one-point agenda, and this alliance automatically fizzles out after the Senate election. And the understanding between the parties is also to the same effect. I mean, they don't intend to create a long-term political alliance, so to speak.
All right. Riaz Sahab, we talked about the political alliances with Barrister Masroor Sahab, and he said that it's a short-term alliance. But as far as the independent members are concerned, those alliances are open for anybody for grabs, as we can say. The PMLN candidates for the moment, as per the statements of all the PMLN leaders, will stick to their party, but only time will tell what happens in the future. But there are also other independent candidates, and there are the women candidates, the technocrat candidates, and the non-Muslim candidates as well. How do you foresee the Senate election results coming out? Do you foresee a majority of the PMLN this time, as is predicted?
Yes, that's true. The way the political atmosphere we are witnessing these days, apparently or numerically, I think PMLN will completely be the leading party in the Senate, and there are no chances of any other party coming near to ruling PMLN. So but it will, as I said earlier, it will largely depend on the PMLN leadership going on in the court, the proceedings of the trial court. So it will depend on that as well, and it can impact general election as well, or it will also impact after the general election if there is something going on, the punishment from the trial court, something like that. So it could make the mind of the senators who are independent. Apparently they are now with the PMLN, but they can change their loyalty given the situation they are seeing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Barrister Saab, we're hearing that Mr. Imran Khan might not be coming to poll for any of his candidates, or will not come for these Senate elections. What kind of image, in your point of view, despite the alliance of your party, putting that aside, what kind of an image does that give to the political scenario in any country when the leader of any party does not come?
It's very unfortunate that Imran Khan, because ultimate aim, ultimate goal of a political party is to yield maximum number of seats in the National Assembly, because naturally the way our constitution is framed, one can only become the Prime Minister of this country if one has majority seats in the National Assembly. Provincial assemblies or Senate would not really matter. So the party which is vying, which is contemplating, or which is apparently, it states or claims to be waging a war, waging a struggle to get maximum number of seats in the National Assembly and then get hold of the power and rule this country through Parliament. Unfortunately, its leader is showing contempt, is disgracing the very institution for control of which he is struggling so hard. And it's not the first time, Omer. If the past is of any guide, you'd have seen that when the election of the current Prime Minister was taking place, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi was competing against Sheikh Rashid Ahmed. And Sheikh Rashid Ahmed was the consensus candidate of PTI. He was their nominee. And despite the fact that it was Imran Khan, though as per reports there was staunch opposition even from within the ranks of PTI against the nomination of Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, because they thought that Imran Khan couldn't find a single capable person within the ranks of PTI to be nominated for the slot of the Prime Minister election. But nevertheless, it was Imran Khan who, because of his personal friendship or for whatever reason, nominated Sheikh Rashid Ahmed. Despite the fact it was his own nominee, he did not bother to come and vote for him. Neither did the party chairman Imran Khan nor his general secretary, the then general secretary Jahangir Tareen. So this basically shows, and then the words he uttered, the contemptuous word he uttered regarding the parliament in a public procession in Lahore. So this, if you look at the entire picture, I think the jigsaw is complete, and you see how much contempt, how much hatred he has for the democratic institutions, for a very revered institution of parliament, and one can only feel sorry because PTI is one of the big political parties in Pakistan, whether we like its agenda or not, whether we agree with its policies or not, but it's a fact, it's a big political party. And unfortunately, many young people follow him, I mean, idealize him. And if the person who is idealized by so many people expresses so much hatred and contempt for the parliament, then may God help democracy.
Because the fact is, if you might have reservations over something, but then you need to be part of that process.
No, I'll explain to you. What is, I mean, as far as the Senate election is concerned, what is the reservation? I mean, he had reservation, he would not have fielded billionaires who are strangers to PTI to compete for the slot. I mean, he is part and parcel of the system. And when the Electoral Reforms Committee was holding his meeting, he was wasting his time outside Parliament holding public processions. Why didn't he take part in the Electoral Reforms Committee? He would have come up with some better ideas, because there is no point now when the election schedule is announced, when the elections are taking place today. Now he says, oh, it should be another way, there should be public voting rather than secret voting.
Yes.
Fair enough, there is a lot of room for improvement, but when there was time to actually do something, he shied off. He did not, because he is himself a beneficiary of the system.
All right.
That is the sorry. I just want to add one more thing. He is himself the beneficiary of the system. So in this scenario, when so much remorse is, so much hatred is expressed, he is basically cutting the very foundation of the democracy. Because if in the public eyes, the institution, because Parliament reflects whether we like the working of the Parliament. Of course, there's throughout the world. There's always a room for improvement. There's so many other things which Parliament ought to do. But again, Parliament is the only way where people can express their will, people can rule this country through their chosen representatives. I, to be very honest, can't think of any other mechanism. And the world has learned this experience. There is the Parliament, and the more democracy we'll have, the more elections we'll have, Parliament will get strengthened. So, and another issue is, sorry, this was the point I missed. If Imran Khan hates Parliament so much, if he thinks that such a useless institution that he doesn't even bother to drive 2 kilometers from his house and come and vote in the Parliament, why is he drawing salaries worth millions of rupees? I mean, then he should have the guts, he should show some moral courage and not accept the checks of his monthly salary. So, and so much so, I mean, he doesn't come to Parliament, and ironically, he receives millions of rupees under the head of travelling allowance. He doesn't travel to the Parliament. So that shows that how double-faced he is, that he is making a mockery of the system himself.
Let me add something to this. I don't know if it would sound like Imran bashing or not, but this is very valid question you asked, and Masroor Sahab almost covered everything. You are disgracing Parliament on one side, and on the other side, you want election and you want elected and come to the same Parliament and change the system. Now this is very, this is totally change of paradox, or you know, this is, I mean, this is very interesting. On one hand, you are cursing the institution which you think will change the country, or you think you have been doing something in the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and you want to rule the country. But on the other hand, you are not even bothering to come to the house, and he has hardly been coming, like thrice or more than 4 times he has come here, and he thinks it is, he has been cursing the Parliament as well. So using those words and then telling people that those people are liars and robbers, and now I'll come and change the system and everything. So it's not like that, and globally it hasn't worked. So Masroor Sahab, as he added, it is not, it is like he is mockery. The mockery of the law and the constitution.
You have an opinion, and it's very good to have an opinion, but you are part of the system, and if you are part of a political, a democratic system, then you have to support that system instead of throwing acid on it.
And another thing is, sorry, look at the hypocrisy. I mean, as far as Imran is concerned, the members of his political party, if they are sitting in the Parliament, they are pious, they are sagacious, right? And those who are sitting on the treasury benches or belonging to other political parties, they are, according to Imran, not up to the mark. I would not use the words that he uses. Right? But if the same members, they switch sides and join PTI, then they become pious again. So what is the yardstick? I mean, if you are in PTI, you are good enough. Then you are the best politician, no matter how many corruption cases you have faced in the past, how many scandals you are involved in. But if you switch on to the PTI, as in the it is a common jargon that Imran Khan has a washing machine in Bani Gala, and all your sins of the past gets washed, and you come as a fresh face, clean, bright, and then Imran Khan has no issue with you.
And after all this, disregarding the parliament and the words he has been using, the language he has been uttering, and even the lawmakers they have been disregarding many institutions, especially the parliament we are talking about. So he is followed by millions of people. So he is actually telling those people, his followers, the citizens, that okay, this institution is no longer a useful institution, and it is not working, it is corrupt, it is etc. So you are also guiding your followers that okay, everything is wrong and no fine.
That's very right. We've been joined by PMLN leader and Mr. Rana Afzal Saab. Rana Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Sir, how are you foreseeing the results of the Senate elections? Is the PMLN coming out victorious?
Well, of the four provincial assemblies and the National Assembly, I think in the National Assembly we'll win both the seats. We hopefully will win all the seats in Punjab. There is competition probably on one seat, and inshallah, with the right strategy, PMLN should be able to win that seat as well. So, as regards Balochistan, it's not all lost for us. Let us see that some of the Muslim leaguers who would want to see Muslim League representation in the Balochistan Assembly come back. I think they have been working hard at it. And in Sindh, I think it is going to be a mixed result. What I would like to admire and appreciate is that the election is going on in a very smooth manner, although PMLN was not allowed to use its symbol, and we were out as a party on very unacceptable grounds. However, we have complied with the court orders, and inshallah you will see that all these people who are elected with the support of PMLN as independents will come back to the party fold, and PMLN will emerge as the biggest party in the Senate. So inshallah, the best part of the whole exercise is that this upper house, which is a symbol of unity of the whole nation, the elections are being held. This is a message to the whole world that democracy has strong roots in Pakistan, and we are proceeding with it.
All right, Rana Saab, speaking of democracy and democratic rule and democratic principles, we saw the decision that was given out by the Supreme Court, as a result of which all the PMLN members are now contesting as independent candidates. A lot of apprehensions were circulating in the media, in the political circles. But are they all going to be put to rest by the end of the day?
Well, I haven't heard you very clearly, but I think what you are referring to is that the independent candidates supported by PMLN will join PMLN. I'm very sure that they will.
Sir, also Imran Khan is not coming to cast his vote as far as the Senate elections are concerned, despite the fact that he has been criticizing left and right the whole system of governance in the country. He still does not want to be part of the democratic process. What are your views on that?
Well, everybody thinks that he is a sportsman, but I think this sportsman has the massive shortage of sportsman spirit. He lacks sportsman spirit totally. He knows that he will not win, but then why did he put his candidates? So the democracy is not about running the country after you have majority in the parliament. The opposition has a very definitive and very positive role to play. And I think he does not understand that. And this is what people think, that this whole party is led by people with no democratic vision. And this is why there were dharnas, and this is why there were disruptions. I mean, on one hand, he does not accept defeat, and on the other hand, he does not want to be an opposition party or to play his role as an opposition party. This is the tragedy of Pakistan, that this new party has brought distortions to the democratic process which are not acceptable, and you will see that people of Pakistan in 2018 election will decide the fate of this party as well.
All right, thank you very much, Rana Afzal Saab, to have joined us, to have given us your point of view as far as these ongoing Senate elections are concerned, and your optimism as far as the victory of PMLN in these Senate elections is concerned. Rana Saab, let's continue a little bit and go a bit in the past. 2015 elections, the party results showed that the Pakistan People's Party had a total number of 27 senators, PMLN 26, ANP 7, MQM 8, JUIF 5, PMLQ and so on. Is this situation going to be changed, disturbed in the 2018 elections?
Yeah, obviously it's gonna be totally changed, and PMLN, which was a ruling party but was in the majority in the National Assembly, but was often struggling in the Senate, the upper house, just because Pakistan People Party was the leading party. Now after contesting the 2018 election, they are probably gonna be having the highest number of senators from their party, so they'll be in the stronger position, not only for this tenure of the government, but for the upcoming tenure of the National Assembly and obviously the Senate. So they'll be very comfortable with the legislation and stuff. If there is any majority of other party in the National Assembly, still they'll having the say in the Senate, and will be giving tough time like People Party have been giving them for the legislation and different kind of stuff.
All right. Barrister Saab, comparing the 2012 and 2015 elections as far as the numbers game is concerned of the senators, let's talk of the two major parties, that is Pakistan People's Party and the PMLN. As far as the People's Party is concerned, comparing the 2012 and 2015, there was a decrease of 14 members of Senate, whereas in the PMLN there was an increase in 12. And other parties, of course, increased, decreased. MQM, there was a member that increased. PTI, there were 6 members that increased. Do you feel that the same variation will also be seen in the 2018 elections, or there will be a change in that variation?
Actually, the number of senators of a particular political party, it varies because it is directly related to the number of MPs in the provincial legislature that one political party has.
True.
So naturally, when 2002 elections took place,
12.
No, I'm talking about 2002
okay.
first.
2000, all right.
Because that will have impact on the future Senate elections. PMLNQ had majority in Punjab Assembly. So that was reflected, and Senate elections do not take place for the whole Senate in one go. So half Senate gets elected in one time and half Senate gets elected another time. So that effect continues for 2 terms of the Senate. So if PMLNQ obtained majority in Punjab Assembly in 2002, naturally in the upcoming Senate election that time, and then the later election also, this would be reflected, and the number would be decreased even if it loses majority in the provincial assembly, since the senators elected for 6 years term, their presence would be there, and naturally it was fizzle out as the time goes on. PMLN then gained its majority in Punjab, naturally. So that was also reflected in the Senate elections, their numbers increased. Sindh, People's Party basically is now more or less confined to Sindh alone. Now I don't know what happens in Balochistan, because they are fighting elections under as independent.
There's a lot of pressure
candidates.
tactics by the Pakistan People's Party in Balochistan.
Certainly, but they are basically contesting elections as independent candidates. Though we know that they have inkling towards Pakistan People's Party, but we're not sure that after getting elected which political party would they join, but it seems very likely they will join Pakistan People's Party. So keeping that factor on the side, I think the number, since the composition of the Provincial Assembly is constant, is the same as we've seen in the last Senate elections. So I don't think so that there will be a lot of difference in these numbers.
All right.
Of course, one or two can go here and there, and especially from the KP or in Balochistan. But as far as Sindh is concerned, yesterday MKM also hammered out their differences, and then they would.
That was an important development.
Very important development, because that would have given People's Party an edge. Because if MKM would not have settled scores amongst themselves, there it was very likely that their MPs would have voted for Pakistan People's Party candidates.
True.
So the number of senators would have gone up. But I think now they will more or less be confined to the numbers of MPs that they have in their own parliament. I think more interesting elections would be in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where situation is very hazy. Not one political party has a convincing majority. There is a talk of horse trading. Even Imran Khan yesterday blamed his own MPs that they are selling their votes. And the same goes for every party. Even Jamaat-e-Islami, which claims to be very pious and fighting for the imposition of Shariat in Pakistan, they are selling their conscience. So I think the results in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa would be very interesting. As far as Punjab is concerned, we have seen the Senate election on the sole seat of Nihal Hashmi.
Nihal Hashmi
the PMLN
by a very easy margin.
Easy margin. So in Punjab, I think PMLN definitely would have would regain whatever seats they have. But Khyber Pakhtunkhwa would be very interesting, because there, if the particular senator of a political party gets a seat which is not in consonance with the number of MPs they have, then definitely it is the result of horse trading.
All right. Now, coming to this kind of unstable situation as far as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is concerned, what if a member that is comes up as a member of the Senate is not what we expected him to be? Is that, in your point of view, Riaz Saab, going to also play out on the general elections? Is that going to have an effect on the general elections that are going to be?
It is not going to, as Masroor Saab earlier commented in detail about that thing, it is not going to impact the general elections. But obviously, it depends if that
But you see public perception, when you will see the results and when you see a change in, from what you were expecting, the public perception, the public that's going to vote in those general elections will have a clear-cut idea of what is going on. Wouldn't that affect the public mentality?
I don't think so. That would very much have any impact on the mentality of the public, because Senate is not something where the people of Pakistan look forward to for a change, good, bad or something. So National Assembly is something where the people, the general public, I'm talking about the millions of people would be voting in the general elections. So so they look on even the MPs and MNAs. So the National Assembly is where the trend is set. If there is the ruling party, so you see the trend in by-elections, all the candidates, those who are independent, join the ruling party, or if someone is from the ruling party, so he definitely wins in by-elections, just because the party is ruling in that province or is at the center. So it depends mostly on the National Assembly instead of Senate, which will impact the general elections. This is what I think.
All right. Barrister Saab, we also talked about it last evening, but Imran Khan Saab talked about direct elections instead of indirect elections as far as the Senate seat elections are concerned. Then there have been other apprehensions from other parties, huge hue and cry by different sectors on horse trading that occurs in the Senate elections. Can the Parliament, in your point of view, sit together, because it's the Parliament that will make that law, sit together and make a strict regulation as far as this horse trading is concerned?
Omer, as far as the present law is concerned, it is not practically possible.
All right, sir. We'll have to put you on pause, because Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shah Abbasi, has reached the National Assembly to cast his vote. The Senate elections are underway. In the National Assembly, the MNAs are electing 2 members from the Islamabad territory, and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shah Abbasi, has now arrived in the National Assembly. These images you're watching live on PTV World. And at this time, casual chit-chat is occurring between the Prime Minister and other MNAs, and he's going to cast his vote in the National Assembly. The Senate elections for 52 seats. Of course, members will be elected from the Provincial Assembly as well. 12 members each from Punjab and Sindh. 11 members each from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan are going to be elected. Also 4 seats from FATA. Already in the by-elections, Ahad Ashraf has emerged victorious. That was a seat vacated after the Apex Court had convicted Nihal Hashmi of contempt of court. The PMLN-backed candidate had secured 298 votes, whereas his rival, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's Zarqa Soharwardi, had polled 38 votes. Images you're watching live on your PTV world screens. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shah Khan Abbasi, is in the National Assembly. The Senate elections 2018 have commenced since 9 in the morning. They will continue till 4 in the afternoon. Members from the National Assembly as well as the 4 provincial assemblies are going to cast their votes to elect half of the members of the Senate who have now resigned, and they are going to be renewed as a result of these 2018 elections. Punjab and Sindh provincial assemblies are going to elect 12 senators, where Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan assemblies are going to elect 11. Elections will be held across 7 general, 2 women and 2 technocrat seats, so that makes 11. And whereas the Punjab and Sindh provincial assemblies are going to elect an additional non-Muslim senator, that is why the number of the Senate seats from these 2 provinces is 12. And the Senate polls, for information of those who do not know, are held through proportional representation. The provincial assembly members mark votes in order of priority. Those ranking on the top get elected. For example, if you want to emerge victorious on a general seat, a winning candidate will have to require a plurality of votes, which is arrived by dividing the number of votes in a house with the number of the Senate seats in a respective category. For example, if you are a women senator, then you will require 32.5 votes, that is 2 women seats and 65 members, so 65 divided by 2. Likewise, the non-Muslim candidates will have the same issue. Polls are also going to be held for 1 general and 1 technocrat ICT seats, and candidates which obtain a simple majority in priority votes are going to be elected. As far as FATA is concerned, National Assembly members from FATA will elect senators to represent the region. There are 11 MNAs from FATA. There is another seat lying vacant. They will elect 4 senators. Every FATA MNA marks 4 aspirant ballot papers. Those with most tickets will emerge victorious. Also, 2 seats were lying vacant. Mushahid Hussain Saab, elected on a PML Q ticket in 2012, had tendered his resignation after switching allegiance to the PMLN, and whose term was set to expire next month, is in the race for a new Senate seat. And as far as reports go, the MQM is going to back him. Also, Saifullah Bangush Saab, a Pakistan People's Party senator, had died recently. His term was also expiring. So his seat was also lying vacant. That will be contested as well this time. The Senate elections continuing. Images that you're watching live on your PTV world screens. Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shah Khan Abbasi, at this moment is meeting with other MNAs. The ambience looks quite casual, slightly jubilant, if I might say. Discussions are going on. You might also know that the ECP has issued strict guidelines as far as these Senate elections are concerned. There's a code of conduct. Rangers and Frontier Corps personnel have been deployed. All voters are required to reach polling stations through a certain passage. No one will be allowed exclusive entry to the polling station. Use of mobile phones is prohibited. Confidentiality of the ballot papers and vote has to be ensured. and any information regarding the election cannot be taken out of the station. It is strictly prohibited. Also, the ECP has warned of taking action against those that are trying to damage or manipulate the ballot papers. Those who do not abide by this code of conduct might face up to 2 years of imprisonment and fine up to 100,000 rupees. Also, there are authorized returning officers that are going to work as magistrates during the time that the poll is taking place. These returning officers will have the right to call off the vote or render it void if they come across any such attempt that is disrupting the order or compromising the electoral process. The returning officers can also instantly hold trials and announce penalties for any person that is involved in forgery or in manipulation of the ballot papers. These returning officers may also use their discretion to cancel any ballot paper that they believe has been manipulated. These are the strict rules and regulations that the Election Commission of Pakistan has taken out on the occasion of the Senate elections 2018 that have begun since 9 in the morning, will continue till 4 in the afternoon in the National Assembly, in all the provincial assemblies. Images of from the National Assembly you're watching right now on your PTV World screens. Different MNAs are casting their ballot for the 2 members from the Islamabad Capital Territory. You also saw Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shah Khan Abbasi, who was there to cast his vote. Well, we'll go to a short break because it's time for the news at noon. We'll be back, inshallah, with this transmission between 12:05 and 1. Thank you to both of my guests, Riaz Ul Haq Saab and Barrister Masroor Shah, to have been with us and to have given us your point of views. I hope you'll stay over, but if you do not, we wish you a happy day and that democracy prevails in the country. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.